I'm canceling a tour because I have a brain tumor. What is that?
If there's one voice that can slide from sultry R&B to church-shaking gospel and still give you chills, it's Regina Belle. From singing in her Jersey church choir to belting out Disney's most magical love song, her journey's been pure drama and pure glory. We're talking Grammy wins, health battles, gospel glow-ups, and a career that kept reinventing itself like your favorite TV reboot. So grab a seat, turn the volume up, and let's spill the real tea on the diva who never lost her shine.
Our next guest is one of the sultriest soul singers around, and her voice has stood the test of time.
Belle came up in Englewood, New Jersey, born Regina Elaine Belle on July 17, 1963. And right from then, music was already chasing her down before she even knew it. Her parents, Eugene Belle and Lois Belle, were the real MVPs behind the scenes, setting the soundtrack in motion from day one.
I've been singing since I was about 3 years old.
Like, imagine a little girl, barely 8 years old, standing up in front of everybody at Mount Calvary Baptist Church, hitting her first solo like she had something to prove. And people weren't just clapping because she was a kid. They were like, hold up, she's got something. Then she slid over to Friendship Baptist Church in Patterson, where her uncle, Reverend Fred Belle, was running things, and that's where she really started turning heads. You know it hits differently when family's in the pulpit and you shutting the whole church down with your voice. Now, let's not act like Belle was just sitting around waiting for a mic to come her way. She was in school working, too. At Dwight Morrow High School, she wasn't just that girl who could sing. She was straight up in the band, learning trombone, tuba, and even steel drums. Like, who you know out here balancing steel drums with Sunday solos? Belle was that girl, and she didn't stop there.
What the hell I was going to do with my life? I was scared to death. I wanted to go to college to get my master's just so I could be protected.
After high school, she dipped into opera training at the Manhattan School of Music. Opera, baby. While some kids were still figuring out how to harmonize in the shower, she was already hitting notes on a whole different level.
I actually studied classical music, European classical music, in Manhattan School of Music for Preparatory College.
Then she rolled through Rutgers University and did something nobody expected. She became the first female vocalist with the school's jazz ensemble. And you already know, being the only woman in a jazz band full of dudes comes with its own kind of spotlight. She didn't just sit pretty in the back either. She owned it.
I was 27, 8-ish, maybe even 25, coming into the industry, and I was automatically put in adult contemporary.
Now, Belle wasn't moving through music blind. She had her list of women she looked up to, the voices that shaped her vibe. We're talking legends like Phyllis Hyman, Billie Holiday, Shirley Caesar, Patti LaBelle, Nancy Wilson.
Nancy taught me, she said, baby, she said, I'm passing the baton to you.
You see the mix? That's gospel roots, jazz elegance, soul, and pure diva power all in one. You can hear exactly where Belle pulled her sauce from. But here's where it starts to get juicy. Belle wasn't out here grinding for nothing. One day, New York radio DJ Von Harper puts her on game, linking her up with the Manhattans. Yes, the Manhattans. That hookup changed everything. Belle started opening for them, and once she got on that stage, it was over. You know how an opener sometimes fades into the background? Not Belle. People left remembering her just as much as the headliners.
When they hear it, they'll play it for their kids. And so our songs live through generations, I think, because of the content of the music.
Then came the duets. First, she got on their album Back to Basics and laid down Where Did We Go Wrong? That record wasn't just a song, it was her ticket. Folks started paying attention. Then she doubled down and hopped on another duet, Maybe Tomorrow, which slid in as the B-side to Where Did We Go Wrong? And listen, when you're an up-and-coming singer, even the B-side could make waves. People were spinning it, noticing her, asking, wait, who's this Belle girl? That kind of buzz? Columbia Records couldn't just sit back. They were watching, clocking her moves, and eventually they signed her to a deal. And just like that, Belle wasn't just the church soloist or the girl at Rutgers. She was on her way into the real industry game. And while all that career heat was building, her personal life had its own story too. In 1985, before the record deals and big stages, Belle tied the knot with saxophonist and flute player Horace Alexander Young. It was very much that musician meets musician type of love story. They were together until 1990, and during that time they adopted a baby girl, Tia, in 1989. But just like some songs fade out, that chapter closed and Belle kept it moving. So by 1987, even with life happening behind the scenes, Belle stepped out on her own musically.
You dropped your first album, I believe it, 1987, All By Myself.
You better know your history, boy.
She dropped her debut album All By Myself, serving big vocals and proving she wasn't playing at all. And let's just say the girl didn't tiptoe in. She came swinging. That album gave us her first real hits, So Many Tears and Show Me the Way. Folks were spinning those tracks heavily.
Show Me the Way is from Regina Belle's debut solo LP, All By Myself.
People who had only known Belle from church or those jazz ensemble days were now looking at her like, okay, she's for real. But wait, she wasn't even done that year. That same 87, Belle locked in her first real power move, her first duet with Peabo Bryson. Yes, the Peabo.
Peabo has what I call the silky smooth type of voice.
The song was Without You. Let's just say, not the biggest hit, but the song did its thing. It became Belle's first track to slide into the adult contemporary chart, hitting a smooth number 8. That's major, because it showed she wasn't boxed in. And guess what? Without You didn't just sit on one chart. It popped up on 4 different ones, even sneaking into the UK singles chart at number 85. That was her little overseas stamp, and at that point, it was her best UK position until she leveled up in 89. Speaking of 89, Belle was on it. She dropped her follow-up album, Stay With Me. No playing around, no letting the debut be her only moment. She was keeping her foot on the gas, and by now, her name was floating in more serious music circles. She wasn't just that girl who sang duets. She was carving her own lane, album after album. Then came the early 90s, and Belle kept that duet streak alive like it was her thing. In 1991, she linked up with the legendary Johnny Mathis. Yes, the Johnny Mathis, for Better Together on his duet album. Old school met new school, and Belle held her own like a pro. But life wasn't just about the mic. That same year, June 25th, Belle switched up the tempo and married former NBA baller John Battle.
How did you two meet? I want to ask him.
Oh, in college. We met in college. We've been together ever since.
From there, she built a whole squad. 4 kids total, 2 adopted, 2 biological. First came Winter and Jalen, then later Sydney in 94 and Nyla in 95. It wasn't all smooth though. She went through the heartbreak of losing twin boys twice. But even through the pain, Belle kept that mama strength strong. And now, she's rocking grandma status too with Winter's babies Thea and Joshua.
And through it all, Peabo never really left the chat. After Without You in 87, they circled back in 91 for I Can't Imagine, and the chemistry was still there. Then boom, in 92, they dropped The Game Changer, A Whole New World. That Aladdin anthem had the whole globe singing. Kids, parents, everybody. It wasn't just a song, it was a full-blown cultural moment. That song went worldwide, and suddenly Belle wasn't just known in the church community, or in jazz, or on adult contemporary charts. She was in every living room with a Disney VHS. By 1993, she rode that Disney wave right into her 3rd album, Passion. And let me tell you, that thing went platinum. That's no small feat. The album was glowing with hits, but obviously A Whole New World was the centerpiece. The song that had already taken over radios, TVs, award shows, everything. Now, don't think she was done playing in the movie lane. In 1994, Belle teamed up with Jeffrey Osborne to record Far Longer Than Forever, the theme from the animated movie The Swan Princess. And listen, Disney wasn't the only one handing out magic moments. That track ended up getting nominated for a Golden Globe in 1995 for Best Original Song. A Golden Globe nomination? That's like Mama I Made It territory. She kept moving too. In 95, Belle dropped Reachin' Back. This was her way of tipping her hat to the classics, showing love to the old school R&B tracks she grew up on. Then in 98, she came back again with Believe in Me. By this point, Belle wasn't just some fresh new voice anymore. She had albums, duets with legends, platinum plaques, and movie soundtracks under her belt. And just because she liked to keep her duets consistent, she even circled back with Peabo years later for Total Praise in 2009.
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
I can't believe it.
It can't be
Look,
that long.
And we're still singing in the same key.
How about that? Amen.
That's right. Over 20 years after their first collaboration, they were still making music together like nothing ever changed. By the time 2001 hit, Belle was already seasoned, but out of nowhere, her voice popped back up on the charts. And it wasn't even with her own single. It was her cover of Just the Two of Us from the tribute album to Grover with Love. That little move had everybody like, wait a second. She's back? The song snuck onto the Billboard charts, and within months, the industry was knocking on her door again. She didn't waste time. Belle linked up with peak Concord Jazz.
Regina Belle takes the stage at the Atwood Concert Hall on Friday with R&B and jazz superstar Gerald Albright for an evening of smooth jazz.
A label that had that smooth, jazz-leaning flavor, and that's where she gave us This Is Regina. Now, that album came with some heat, including the R&B cut Ooh Boy. That track, pure butter. Ooh boy, touch me like that. People were playing it on the radio, in lounges, in cars, with the windows down. Belle was really sliding back into people's playlists. Along with that, she pushed out Don't Wanna Go Home and teamed up with Glenn Jones for From Now On. The girl had range, and she was proving it again and again. Then 2004 came through, and Belle decided to switch lanes a little. She gave us a jazz standard album called Lazy Afternoon, produced by none other than George Duke. You know George Duke wasn't just anybody. He had the magic touch for making albums sparkle. This record wasn't Belle chasing trends, it was Belle settling into her elegance. She took on the Isley Brothers for The Love of You, and yes, she made it her own. She also laid down a cover of Tony Bennett's If I Ruled the World, showing off her ability to glide across genres like it was nothing.
Beautiful ballad in the most traditional sense.
By 2007, she was still mixing things up. Belle hooked up with smooth jazz saxophonist Paul Taylor, not just singing, but co-writing on his album, Lady's Choice. And you could tell the chemistry was there because that project flowed real smooth. She wasn't just guesting in on tracks, she was really in the creative process, shaping the music. Then came 2008, and Belle decided it was time to take it back to her roots. She dropped her very first gospel album, Love Forever Shines. 14 tracks deep, this wasn't just her singing pretty songs, it was her testifying, reaching for something higher. She pulled in some strong names too, with Melvin Williams from the Williams Brothers and Shirley Murdoch stepping in as guests. And the record, it sounded like church, like Sunday mornings, like everything she had been carrying from those early days at Mount Calvary Baptist.
I've never left the church, and it's always been a part of my life. It's always been a part of my show.
But life wasn't all smooth notes. 2009 hit hard.
2009, I suffered a brain tumor. I had to have emergency surgery.
Belle faced a brain tumor, a fight that could have silenced everything.
The surgery that it was only supposed to take a couple of hours, it ended up taking 8 hours.
She made it through though. It left her deaf in one ear. And instead of slowing down, it gave her more fire, more reason to keep pushing her purpose. So by 2012, Belle came back with another gospel project, Higher, again on Pendulum Records. And you could tell this one was different. Belle herself even admitted that the second CD gave her a better understanding of what she wanted. That's growth right there. She wasn't just experimenting, she was fully walking in her direction now. Through all this, Belle wasn't just in the studio, she was outside, on stages, sharing mics with some of the greatest.
I was able to still bring people into my village that were trustworthy, people that could get the job done, people who were timely, and people who did it in a lovingly fashion.
Every move she made in the 2000s kept reminding people that Belle wasn't some one-hit wonder from the 80s and 90s. She kept sliding between R&B, jazz, gospel, and collaborations like it was second nature. She knew how to keep her sound fresh, but still grounded in what made people love her in the first place. But then she kind of went quiet on the recording side. No big albums after that, and that's where folks started whispering, did Belle retire? Not knowing she was up to something. From 2013 to 2015, Regina Belle wasn't just sitting pretty. She was out here doing interviews, blessing benefit concerts, and quietly cooking up her next big move. Then boom, January 22nd, 2016, she dropped The Day Life Began on Shanachie Records.
I think it can entail many hallmark moments in your life. I call it gumbo. It's a mixture of R&B, gospel, jazz, and even a country song.
That joint was pure R&B, gospel, and jazz vibes, sliding straight onto the top gospel albums chart, peaking around number 11.
I love it. It's a great CD. It's
Thank
fun.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had fun making it.
Songs like He's Alright and the title track had folks saying, oh, Regina's back for real. From 2017 through 2021, Belle kept her foot on the gas. No retirement talk here. She was still tearing up jazz, gospel, and R&B stages, while her classics kept streaming on Spotify and Apple Music. The receipts, ticket listings, interviews, and steady shows. Then came 2022, and Regina got festive with My Colorful Christmas. 10 tracks deep, featuring a sweet duet with her daughter Sydney, and even a cut co-written with her late brother Bernard. She wasn't just singing, she was bossing up too, pushing it through her own Taishi 3 entertainment label with Altavas distribution, even talking to NFTs. By 2023 to 2024, the Christmas album stayed strong, while Belle stayed visible in features and events. And now 2025, she's getting her flowers, honored by the Women's Songwriters Hall of Fame, and still booking live shows into 2026.
When it comes to awards, Regina Belle's shelf is far from empty. The biggest flex? Her Grammy win in 1994 for A Whole New World with Peabo Bryson. That Disney anthem didn't just win hearts, it bagged Song of the Year at the Academy Awards too. Add in multiple Soul Train nods, American Music Award love, and Dove Awards later in her gospel era, Belle's got her flowers. Now, money talk, sis is sitting comfy. Regina's net worth is estimated around $7 million, built off decades of music, touring, and that smart gospel crossover. She never chased tabloid checks, but her steady grind kept her secure. And the legacy? Huge. Regina Belle isn't just the Aladdin lady.
Mother's Day made 30 years in the industry for me.
Wow, congrats.
So that is wonderful.
She's a voice that glided from R&B to gospel without losing an ounce of soul. She proved longevity ain't about hype. It's about pure talent that still makes people stop and listen.
What is it about your music you think that touches people to their core?
The fact that I'm passionate about what I sing.
These days, Belle and her husband, John, are holding it down in Atlanta, Georgia.